Hi everyone, it's Roberta. I have this piece of paper that I had glued down a bunch of bits and bobs from die cuts, the little tiny pieces, and did it on a old Savoritz cracker box that I had scraped the fine slick finish off of, and I will go over this with gesso on the back side to make it look nice again. And you can see some of the crackle from the paint and the glue that had seeped over to the back side, and the glue makes a crackle effect in paint, so that was pretty interesting. Anyway, I was going to finish working on this background. I was going to start with some white. My Punchinella, which when it is stamped, it makes some really pretty flowers. These were some flowers that I had made the other day just on some book paper, and I used various colors, pink eraser, the poppy, the wild iris, some yellow, black, white, and just messing around. And then of course they don't look like anything until you doodle some lines. This is what they originally look like when you first get them done. They really don't look like much. And then you just keep adding to it. These are the plain ones. They just have just a little bit done. And they don't look like anything until you add a little bit to them. And so on this one, it was a round one too, but then I did some paint swipes using a paintbrush and did swipes of white paint going out, and then I just cut a petal shape around it, and that's how I got this weird looking flower. So anyway, these are 3 flowers that I like a lot, and so I thought I'd use them on the background here in some way. And I love the crazy bird, so I wanted to add that. And thought I'd add this little sentiment, I miss you so much. But I'm going to work on the background first. And I want to lighten it up a little bit. And it does need another layer of paint, so I was going to use some of these other colors and do different types of stamping, stenciling, inking, just different things just to try to get a different look. I do the paint in an excess paint book, so it's already on something that I can use. Okay, that's one layer. And I have extra paint, which I don't need on this book page, and I don't need it on my little panel here. Not really sure what this is going to be. I've been trying to just come up with some things of my own. And one of them was just making a card, but it's a wall hanging. So it's wall art, but it's a card. It has a little message on the back, just like a card would. but it's something that would be kept out, hung up on a wall to be enjoyed. And it's medium size. It's not too big a card, it's not too little. I'm going to go in with some of this purple. And it's called Wild Iris, one of my favorite of the purple colors. And I doubt that I'll need that much. And it'll be lighter because I've got white in this one already. So let me go ahead and get some of that out. And this is going to be a very dark, bold color, so I don't really want too much of it. And I want to make sure that I'm changing the direction. And I don't want to pounce as hard as I've been doing because you can see it's mashing and it's bleeding through the back, which is not what I'm wanting. In there, it's not going to be a problem because it's going to be behind the flowers. So I'm going with a lighter press to get these. And of course that white is blending with that Wild Iris. It's making almost like a pinkish purple color, like a light pastel-y magenta. That's enough for that one. And again, I don't need that paint. And a lot of times in my videos I will say ink when I mean paint, and I will say paint when I mean ink. So I apologize for those of you that watch my videos and get confused. Just trying to clean this out. It really does hold a lot. You can add it to a lot of your projects when you're done. Even now I'd be able to spritz this with some water or glycerin water, still be able to get some out of it later. This is something sent to me by Kim Persinger, and she said you can use it as a stamp. So I thought I'd give it a try. Just do one little pass of it just to see how it looks. I don't know that it picked up much. I don't know how many times I would actually... It picked up some, but you really can't see it on this. It may need to be done on something that's lighter, even though this is really a dark pink, because I can see some of it getting on there, just not that much. I'm going to give it one more try. Okay, not having too much luck with that right now. Next one would be this. And this is one that I use my finger to put it on. There's no need to dip it because most of the paint would just go beyond the walls of the silicone, and then it would just be a clumpy mess basically. But doing it this way, you get more control out of it. More controlled stamped image. And adding these colors in, I'm just trying to incorporate the colors that are going to be in the flowers into the background. And that's enough of that one. the little lines that you get from this one. Actually, there's not enough in there to pick up, so I'll just go ahead and put it on here. I want to lighten this up again, so I'm going to use the white Punchinella again before I use that one. Not the white Punchinella, I'm using the Punchinella with the white again. This really isn't white, it's obviously gesso, but it's the white gesso. Oh, sorry. I'm pouncing and I can hear my lamp over here shaking. I apologize. I'm just trying to lighten up the background a little bit more. Then I wanted to add something along the side. I'm going to try to make it even on both ends. Okay, I'm going to use some yellow for this one. This yellow is very liquidy. It's got water in it. And it is changing the color because the yellow is blending with the colors in the back. So we'll see how this looks. If it looks a little off, then I may just go ahead and paint this part white and then go over it with yellow. I actually think that's pretty. We'll just leave it. I'm not sure if I have enough on there, so I want to lay everything down again and just see what it's going to look like. You have to be careful when touching certain components because I don't want to get paint on them. Paint flower in the back. And I think it has enough on there. So now I need to paint the bird. And I have paint on my fingers, so I need to get that off. Just use my old towel. I think I will wash it today, finally. It's been like 6 months. do the bird first. Move these out of my way. And sometimes I do acrylic paint, and when I do acrylic paint, I will spray it with the glycerin water. This is actually the 1 part glycerin and the rest of it is water, and it helps the paint move, so I spritz it a couple of times to get it wet, get my fingers wet, and then put the paint on. And I'm going to go ahead and paint over the eyes. I'll paint those white, and the beak is going to be yellow. So I'm just trying to figure out what color to paint the bird. I think I'll paint it pink. Yeah, this. Actually, I'll just put it directly on. And I know it doesn't it doesn't look too cool when I do it this way, I know that. And that's alright. It's just the way I like to do things, always different. And I do want to add a little bit of a different color. It's going to be this peach. Just to tone that down a little bit. And it makes it really wet, so I'll need to use the heat tool to dry it. I'm just trying to get a bit more of that color on there. And I don't want to work the fiber of the paper too much. So now I'm going to dry it. And y'all will be looking at that saying, that looks like a hot mess. I concur. That's okay though, it's pretty much the way I like to do things. I'm going to paint the beak, and I'm going to go over the black areas with the Sharpie once it's dried, and the black Sharpie will make it more it'll have that sharp defined look again once I do the lines with the Sharpie, because they look pretty blah right now. And the fibers being affected by the amount of water and glycerin I put on, that's okay, because it gives this bird some texture. Almost look like little tiny feathers on it. wash my fingers too for painting. Okay, now I need to do the eyes. I'm just going to take the cap off my gesso and just pull it, the gesso that way, and just go over the eyes. And I like to put a lot on the eyes because if you can get it to smooth out, it makes the eyes have a dimensional look. And I may need to go over the eyes a couple of times to cover up this really dark color, and that'll be something that I can do. And it's okay if I go onto that black because it'll be outlined with the Sharpie. Give it those lines again. And some of the black lines I'm going to use paint instead of a Sharpie. The parts that are a little more solid. And I'm going to paint the little tiny bit of the border that normally would be white. I'm going to paint that black as well. I don't have the really fine paintbrush to do the fine detail. I mean, I have this little thing, but it's very ratty. I don't know if you can see all the little fibers sticking out. It's been well used. It's the only one I have, so I keep using it. Hopefully I'll be able to buy one soon. And I have to be careful with this brush because the little fibers that are poking out, like this one here, I don't know if you can see it. Let me see. You see that little one right off, both of them off to the side. They will put paint right where you don't want it. And I've cut a bunch of them off, but they still keep getting more back. It's just after you use them for so long, they tend to do this. They're not easy to capture and cut either. Let's see if that helps. I gotta get that paint off my fingers or I'll touch something and I'll get black paint on it. Black being one of the hardest colors to do a correction of. using this brush, sometimes you don't know exactly where those bristles are laying down. It is a really hot day here in Florence, Kentucky. We had a really nice thunderstorm early this morning, and it watered my garden for me, which I just was really appreciative. I usually take out about 10 gallons of water. I use about 10 milk jugs and fill them up with water and take them out there and water the garden. There's no outside spigot at the apartments that I live at, so to water it I have to take all the water out there. Although, if I had a hose, I could actually run the hose through the dryer vent, because they have a dryer vent that runs from the laundry room, which is located in the back of my apartment by my kitchen. But the vent outlet goes all the way to the front of the apartment, right where my garden is. So I could actually run the hose right through that. And be able to water my garden really easy. Now, this is the first time I'm attempting to do black paint instead of the Sharpie. And I'm not really sure that I like the look, but I'm one of those people that when I'm trying something new, even if it doesn't look like it's working, I keep trying to give it a fair shot. So, I will, see, that's where the paintbrush did its own little thing. Those little died on me. Common occurrence. The battery, I think, only lasts for about half hour. Anyway, I was saying that I tend to keep going even when sometimes something looks like it's not going to work out the right way. Just because you never know. If you didn't finish it, you would not know what it actually would have looked like. So I'm going to go ahead and finish it, and then I can add in some white lines if I need to make it light again. I would use the Jelly Roll for that. Would not use this paintbrush because this, as you can see, does not work very well. And I'm losing a lot of the definition from what would have been the white spaces in the stamped image, because I'm just going over it all, because to try to get those extremely fine lines, that would not work with this paintbrush, because it's just not, it's not fine. About the time I think I can get a fine line, then it goes wonky on me. And that stray bristle is making itself known again. Or maybe a new one. Either way, it's got to go. Ooh, I think I got a bit too much on there. I bought a rice cooker last year when I was working at Meijer. They had it clearance, so it was normally $40, marked down to $9.99. And it was a bit cheaper because I used my employee discount. But I don't use that just to cook rice. I have found that it is excellent for reheating food or cooking foods really quickly and thoroughly in just minutes. I mean, I can reheat food in 3 to 5 minutes, and most foods can cook up in 10 minutes or less. So it was really a really good investment. Save on electricity too, and the house doesn't get all hot. Well, I don't live in a house, I live in an apartment, but I don't have to worry about it being all hot from cooking in an oven, which is really nice. So funny, this is so crazy dark. And I've decided I'm just going to go ahead and do all these lines, even if they're not exact as the lines that were originally on this. Because that's how I roll. And the plants in my garden are doing pretty well. I had some birds out there that were going after some of the new sprouts, but they haven't been doing it anymore, so quite thankful for that, because I lost not really that many. It's just I have a small garden. I don't have a lot that's really planted in there, and so even losing 5 plants on a large scale, it would not seem like much, but on a small scale it is. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and make dark lines where there aren't any, just to complete it. And this is not the glossy black, and so it's flat. It doesn't have any shine to it. I just want to make sure I get all the little areas painted in so there's not any of that bright pink on the edge. Alright. Well, I definitely believe that the bird is really going to pop. Probably more than I would have wanted. And actually I see some more black that I should have gotten. I'm going to wash this out. There's black lines on the beak. There was actually a lot more fine detail on the beak, but I just basically painted it all in. But I do want to get these little dash lines on the edge of it, which show shading. So let's see if I can get some of that. I'm going to dry it. to go over the eyes again. I don't know that that's as wet as I need. It's gesso tends to be thicker than paint, and I want to get enough paint that it would lay down and make a yeah, that's more what I'm looking for. Oh, there's like a bubble or something that I don't want in there. We'll see how that dries. That just looks really totally funky. Hopefully I can bring it back to life, because right now it's kind of pitiful looking. Like most everything I make. So now I want to glue down the flowers. I need to put this where the wind isn't going to blow it and I won't accidentally touch it. Hopefully I remember where I just put it. I use water down glue to attach things. I'm going to make sure that it's on there. And I don't care if it gets on the top of the flower, because I'll go over it with the watered down glue over the top as well. Kind of how you do Mod Podge. Then the purple one. And I do want to go over the center of this one. I like how crisp and clear this one is. This one isn't as much. Obviously it's a different flower, just like in real life. All flowers are different, even if it's the same genus of the flower. I guess that's the right word, I don't know. But anyway, even in the same flower family, the same type of flower, they can still be very different. This is one of my favorite flowers. I love the colors. Just very tropically looking. Tropically. Not really sure how you say that word either. just spread the glue over the rest of it. Like I said, it acts like a Mod Podge. It's not exact, but close to it. Wash that glue off. I need to wash my paint brushes. I will be back after the bird is dried. Okay, I'm back. I'm gonna work on this. The beak is too dark, so I'm going to try to lighten it a little bit. Which means I'll have to go back over the black again. I'm going to go over it with a little bit of a lemon yellow, a much lighter color. This one is called Sunny Day. It's actually not as light as I want. Ivory. We'll go with that. Sometimes I don't get a color that I want, so I'll just keep trying. Okay. Okay, now I need to do the eyes. Let's see. Trying to see if I have another of this kind of a bird, so I can make sure to do the eyes the right way. Here we go. Somebody stamped and die cut these for me last year in a swap. I don't remember who. Okay. So these eyes do not have the really big pupil like the other one had. And so I'll just go ahead and do it with the black, because that one should be fairly easy to do. So now I have to go over the parts on the beak where it changed the color. Definitely need to get a better paintbrush.